Hello everyone and welcome to This Week is Stupid for the 12th of September 2020. I suggest we start on a high note with something that's going to restore our faith in humanity because by golly we're going to need it for this video.
Hey man, why don't you have the battle pass?
My family's been going through some hard times.
I mean, I'm sorry to hear that.
My mom lost her job recently, and then my dad left. And so it's kind of hard for us to buy things.
Hey, how about this? If we win this game, I'll buy you the battle pass.
Oh my god, wait, really?
Yep.
This really means a lot to me, man. Thank you.
Now, as I mentioned before, we're going to lose a lot of our humanity as we're going through this video. So let's get right into it. I want to know which one of you did it. Which one of you is responsible? Who's the Joker here? You have this poor video game journalist from IGN being really happy and excited as he engages in a little bit of consumerism and is showing that he is now the proud owner of Marvel Avengers. However, as you can see, because video game journalists are very experienced gamers and they're all about gaming culture, he knew that other gamers would not steal the CD key as he shows it onto the camera. I mean, it's common sense to do this as a game journalist, right? Because you have trust in people, you have faith in other people. It's like, if I were to show my credit card now on screen, I'm pretty sure none of you would actually go and try to get some money out of it, right? So, you know, this game journalist operating on trust and using the common principles of socialism that people will only take what they need and no one needs someone else's stuff, is now bewildered that someone claimed his digital code. So I want to know who did it. I'm not going to end this video until one of you confesses. Like, just stand up and say, you know what, I did it. And give back the game to the Joe. It doesn't belong to you, okay? It belongs to him. No, but seriously, you must be nicer to journalists because you're distracting them from the actual important work. Can you imagine a world without them? I mean, who would lecture you that you're being racist? And every day we find out that more and more things are considered racist. You know, things that were okay yesterday, you find out that they're not okay today. And this is because you have an army of these people that dedicate their entire life into figuring out what else is racist, right? It's a difficult job. You probably wouldn't be able to do it, but only journalists and intellectuals are. So, for example, now Italian fashion is racist. See, the BBC is asking the important questions. Like, they are managing to root out racism everywhere it exists until there is no more. So, apparently now, Italian fashion might be racist because Italian designer Stella Jean says more needs to be done in order to tackle the racism in this industry. I absolutely agree. Like, every single step of the way, more needs to be done. If the year would be 2500, you'd still have more to do. It will never be over. Because if it will be over, then what would the journalists be able to write about? Like, do you not think about them? Do you not think about their ad revenue for a change? John of Hayton Descent told the BBC that she decided not to showcase in this year Milan's Fashion Week in protest over racism in the industry. So she took a loss. She took a financial loss and is now suffering. She is in pain. Okay, this millionaire fashion designer is in pain because Italians are racist. Do you not see how compassionate these people are? My God. Do Black Lives Matter in Italian fashion is the question that she's trying to ask. And she is urging brands to hire more black people. Okay, like, this is important. Every single fashion brand should have a 23andMe test kit because there are people who lie, believe it or not, okay? And you don't want that. You need to have like these genetic laboratories working 24/7, like to make sure that everyone is on the correct ethnicity. I mean, seriously, how can you operate a business of any sort if you do not know the ethnicity of the people that you hire? It would be madness. It would be mad. You know what I think? I think it should even be done differently. I think there should be some tattoo or some chip that we can microchip people and it tells you the ethnicity of that person when they go to find a job. Like, that is the only way you can uproot racism from society.
And the people sinned a great sin, for they had made them a god of gold, and they bore him upon their shoulders, and rejoiced, saying, "This be our God, O Israel."
I mean, look at the University of Durban, alright? Like, this is how you fight racism. This is how you do it. Non-POC Cafe. Now, I don't know what POC is, but I guess like Pokemon. No Pokemon Cafe is a space for students that do not identify as persons of color to gather and to discuss their experience as students on campus and as known Pokemon in the world. Hosted by the Center for Social Justice and Inclusion. So inclusion means creating spaces that excludes non-white people. Oh my god, that is so progressive. That is so progressive. Wow, university. Oh, I have never known that these people can be that progressive. I mean, a little bit more and all the racism is going to go away. I am sure of it. Anytime now. Anytime. The only thing you need to do, however, is to insert coin to continue. Because while fighting against racismus and bigotrismus and homophobismus and anti-Islamophobismus and all of these other phobismuses is hard work. Alright? Like, these are very smart, highly educated people which need money in order to perform their function. Just like a car runs on gas, the anti-racismus industry runs on money. And it's a lot of money. Like, if you look here, the people in the United Kingdom have paid a firm £746,000, this is over $1 million of taxpayer money, well spent, and they are going to educate the MPs on words they should not use. This is very important, okay? If we were to live in a society where everyone was a mute, that would have been the ideal, but unfortunately people get to talk and they need to be educated on what words they can and what words they can't say. So they're going to be paid over $1 million in order to make this campaign. And it's this very lovely lady that's being assaulted by a Muppet, it seems. I mean, the Muppet is reaching. It's reaching. It's grabbing. Horrible. But, you know, she is doing very important work here. Training these MPs on how not to be racist, because we know the biggest amount of racism is in the United Kingdom Parliament, and they require help. They require help, but you know, you need to pay for help. By the way, are you a doctor or a lawyer? Do you make $1 billion? No? Well, then you're a sucker. You're a dumbass. You know, like who told you to go into STEM? This was the future. This was the future that you laughed and mocked. Gender studies, black studies, study this, study that. That's what you should have been. But unfortunately, you know, you chose to be a doctor, you chose to be a scientist. I mean, not everyone gets to make the smart decisions in life. And it really comes down to priorities at the end of the day. Like, what does a nation need more? People that are fighting against racismus, or doctors and lawyers and homes for the homeless? Like, you know, who needs that? Okay? When we have no more racismus, then we can focus on that. So the United Nations understands putting priorities, right? Now, the United Nations was accused of various questionable things involving children and whatnot, but like that can take a little bit of a backstand. That can wait, right? That can wait, because now they realize that what's more important is fighting for gender equality in video games. Right? Like, what is a society without consumerism? What is a society without video games? So that needs to be the focal point that the United Nations is going to be focusing now. Right? Like child marriage, sex slavery, you know, like that. Those are not the most important issues. Someone else can deal with them, right? In the meantime, apparently in Forbes, they have realized that women make up almost half of gamers. But what they did is they went to the game development companies and they had very professional people that pulled the pants down of everyone hired there, and they were like, "You're a man! Another man! There are men everywhere! Where are the women?" Now, the UN could actually use some of its funding to, you know, create their own game development companies with women. But again, that's not their job. Like, everyone needs to know their place. Their place is to criticize, not do. It's up to the companies now to step up and hire more women. Or, I'm sorry, did I say women? I meant to say wumuksan. Okay, now, on the Twitter, there are some people that influence society. And there is a team of specialists at the Twitter, of psychologists and psychiatrists and highly trained doctors that are going to notice that these people who like to shape society, some of them had their brain working so hard that it became defective, okay? So they're now mentally challenged. And the people at Twitter put like this cogwheel to show that their brain has been working in overdrive so much that now they, how should I put it in a pleasant light? You should be more lenient with these people than with others. You know, it's not their fault they're like this. It's, I mean, if the hardware is defective, then obviously you can't request much from the software, right? But anyway, right, so why we're using wumuksan? It's not a typo, apparently. Wumuksan is a spelling of quote-unquote women. That's more inclusive. Like, all of a sudden, the definition just exploded like the asshole of a man in the prison shower. And is very progressive. Oh, so progressive. Wow. The term sheds light on the prejudice and discrimination and institutional barriers that wumuksan have faced, and explicitly includes non-cisgender women. Now, I have a question though. If these people were discriminated for like, if you can change gender as you want, like you just, and now I'm a man, now I'm a wumuksan. Like, if you can just do that, it's like fashion, right? Like, you put your goth attire on, and now that you're having your goth attire on, you can expect people to recognize you as a person who listens to goth. And now tomorrow you put your rap attire on, and you expect people to recognize you as a person that likes rap, right? It's like that with gender, right? So if you're being discriminated for being wumuksan, why can't you just put on the attire of a man? And then you're not being discriminated anymore. You know, like, I literally just solved the problem that UN is facing with. Oh my god, I probably could be one of these people, couldn't I? Like, maybe tomorrow I'm going to get my own squiggly thing. Maybe tomorrow I can make $1 million and go at the UK Parliament. Holy shit, like, I am so smart. I shock myself. Look, so the people from the UN are bringing up the issue that there aren't enough women in video gaming industry. Correct? Correct. So what is to stop the men there, like half of the men, to now identify as wumuksan? Problem solved. Oh my fuck, I solved the problem. Someone contact the UN and tell them that I have solved the problem. Like, they can now focus on other things like arranged marriage and child exploitation, you know, like the less important thing. Because the one with the video game, I have solved it right here on this channel right now.
Well, have you seen the last 4 years, my friend? I feel like people like you, when they're talking about this, they just pretend you gaslight. You pretend that the last 4 to 8 years didn't fucking happen.
I'm not gaslighting. Your side is the definition of gaslighting. Dude, you're telling me that there are riots all over Europe and riots all over Sweden. No, they're not. Do you think Sweden is falling apart right now under mass rioting and burning down of...
You ever heard of boiling the frog slowly? Doesn't notice.
I mean, people say the same about Trump's move towards an authoritarian fascist government. I mean, you can make the same argument about anything. Like I said, I mean, like the facts back me up. That we are in an unprecedented era of world peace right now. But for some reason, people think
that's about to change.
Why?
Because shit's falling apart.
But it's not. You're the one gaslighting now. Do you see? Trump is the one gaslighting. This idea that crime is at a 45-year high. The rioting needs to fucking stop. And if that means like white redneck fucking militia dudes out there mowing down dipshit protesters that think that they can torch buildings at 10 p.m., then at this point they have my fucking blessing. Because holy shit, this fucking shit needs to stop.
Okay, look here, bigot. If looting and rioting have no place in a well-functioning democracy, then perhaps it is time to consider that these are signs that Americans are not, in fact, a functioning democracy. Man, I want to be a progressive now. I want to be a progressive so bad. I mean, the big cojones that these people have. Like, the people at Vox are like the type of person that pushes grandma down the stairs and then asks her why is she in a rush. It's like Tucker Carlson said, it's like these people would steal your wallet and then accuse you of theft, lock you up, and then force you to stand to a 20-hour seminar where they explain to you why crime doesn't pay. You know, I fully agree with them, though. Like, I now understand why it's called the Democratic Socialist country of North Korea, because there's no rioting and looting there. You know, like Kim Jong-un has his hand on the pulse. He addresses the grievances of his people constantly. Yeah, the Soviet Union also didn't have that issue. Well, those were really nice, strong democratic countries, weren't they? Oh my God. No, seriously, it's the squiggly thing. Like I'm telling you, you take a publication that otherwise would be normal, but then it gets diagnosed by Twitter the moment they get this, the moment they write like this.
Although a lot of Pennsylvanians are seeing them because there's a lot of ads out there right now. They would say that you want to defund the police, and it seems to be trying to frighten some folks. Can you set the record straight on that?
I not only don't want to defund the police, I'm the one calling for $300 million more for local police, for community policing. I also think we should add social workers and psychologists to help police on 911 calls. The only person calling to defund the police is Donald Trump. Look at his budget. He calls for cutting police funding for state and local help by $400 million. Once again, he's pathological.
Oh, wow, the more I learned. So if you're a Black Lives Matter supporter walking around chanting, abolish the cops, you need to vote for Donald Trump. Like, what are you doing supporting Joe Biden? He wants to fund the police. He's not on your side. Like, why did he choose Kamala Harris, RoboCop? Right? He is tough on crime. He is the type of person that you do not want. And this is from the horse's mouth. Speaking about horses, do you guys want to see some homophobic horses? Huh? Do you want to see a homophobic horse? Actually, not a homophobic horse, 2 homophobic horses. Do you think I can show you on this channel 2 horses and you will say, yeah, no, that's homophobic. That's a little... Huh? All right, let's watch. Let's see if I can show you.
Mounted police force. Oh, I don't like the colour. Don't like the colour. Oh, brilliant, brilliant.
I think those horses need to be fired. I mean, they have a job, right? They're employed by the police. They need to be fired. Either that, or maybe the horses consider the rainbow on the sidewalk to be sacred, and as such, you shouldn't step on it. Huh? Which one do you think it is? Like, let's have a poll. Let's have a survey. Like this blue check mark here decided to do. Fascism is on the ballots in this November, right? If you wonder where fascism is, the answer is on the ballots. Are you going to vote for fascismus? Or are you going to vote for decent, hardworking communist people? Like Antifa. And the survey showed 76% of the people, if given the choice, would have voted for fascism. Horrible. Fascists have no respect or honor for the soldiers who died in World War II fighting to end fascismus. Yes, ask the people in Poland about how the USSR liberated them. I think they have a very interesting story to say. I mean, you got the Katyn massacre. You got all those Jewish people that fled to the USSR in order to escape Nazi Germany, and then the Soviets put them in a train and sent them back to Germany because they wanted to maintain positive relations at the time. You have the hunger, the famine in Ukraine, you know, the Holodomor. You got the purging of intellectuals, the murdering of the Christians. And you know what? When all those people were suffering all of those communist atrocities, when that was happening to them, you know what they were thinking? They're probably thinking, hey, you know what? At least this isn't fascism. Like, at least we're on the right side of history. Yeah, you know what? I absolutely agree. I think that Twitter needs to ban all of the people that voted incorrectly, because this is how a democracy functions. This is how you actually get the correct results. Everyone that doesn't vote properly needs to be dealt away with. either to the gulag or unpersoned or locked up, doesn't matter, right? But in the end, if all those people that voted incorrectly go away, then you will remain with the people that vote correctly. You need to terrorize people into voting for your policies. This is the correct way of democracy that I have learned from Twitter. And what I've also learned is that the founding fathers would have been Antifa. Yes, the people that were no taxation without representation, they would have been for big government. Muy governmente. Yes, powerful. Mucho grande governmente. And tax people. Tax them for everything. Tax. Environmentalists. Tax. Yes. By the way, see, I was under the impression that a police state is a place where you can get arrested in the middle of the night in your own home. Like, that's what the secret police does. They come into your house, they take you away, and there's no trial. There's like, no one even knows where you are. And if people ask questions about where you are, they disappear next. But no, apparently what a police state is just a place with a lot of police officers. So if you see a police officer on the street, that's a police state. Okay, good to know. I also learned something as a bonus, like it was presented to me here. The way I see it, okay, stop laughing. Here is wisdom, all right? This is communist wisdom, you pleb. Like, this is intellectual shit. You know, stop what you're doing and pay a bit of attention. You might learn something for a change. God. The way I see it, the age of consent exists out of respect for the numerous power imbalances older people have over younger people. As those imbalances, or at least some of them, are redressed through the advent of socialism, the age of consent should therefore be lowered. I see. So this is why we need socialism. To molest children. I mean, look at this dreadful news. Look at it. Like, this is shocking. Shocking. Republican lawmakers want to make child drag shows illegal. I mean, come on, not the child drag shows, anything but that. Those pesky Republican lawmakers, why can't they just allow society to progress? Why do they have to hold us back in the dark ages? Do you have child drag shows in the dark ages? No, you didn't. No, you have them now. And Republicans want to take them away. And Tulsi Gabbard is not that far behind, mind you. See, they did say that she's a snake in the grass. They did say that she is a conservative in disguise, trying to influence the good heart and soul of the Democrat Party. Look at her. Netflix, cuties, will certainly whet the appetite of chobos and help fuel the child sex trafficking trade. 1 in 4 victims of trafficking are children. It happened to my friend's 13-year-old daughter. Netflix, you are now complete. Who does she think she is, like, challenging a big corporation like that? Who does she think she is to tell Netflix about morality? Like, that's not how it works, Tulsi. Netflix tells you how to be moral. You don't get to lecture Netflix about how they should be moral. But yeah, 9/11 happened. Do you know what happened on 9/11? I'm not even kidding. Hasan Piker got demonetized by YouTube. I'm not happy about it, by the way. Like, unironically, I don't like hearing people getting demonetized. But if you don't know who Hasan Piker is, he is from the Young Turks, related to Cenk Uygur. And he used to say last year that America deserved 9/11, and now it happened on 9/11. Like, I'm curious if there's some YouTube employee trolling or something. I don't know. But what also happened, and this is also peculiar, Osama bin Laden's niece says only Trump can prevent another 9/11. I don't know how to unpack this. But basically, the upcoming elections are very simple, in case you haven't understood. The far left want wealth redistribution, like in California, right? Like in California, it has been governed by the Democrats, and there is no wealth distribution. It's one of the most prosperous and best places to live, right? So that's what the far left wants. They want universal health care, and they want the Green New Deal. And the far right apparently wants to kill Jewish people and communists. And centrists are, wow, which is the greater threat? Right? So obviously, do what the Gravel Institute tells you. Stop thinking about it. Just, there are people thinking for you. Go there and vote for Joe Biden. Or if not, Twitter is going to ban your account, so you can't vote into polls and surveys. So don't lose that privilege, right? It's your privilege. It's your right. Don't lose it. Vote properly. But just to make sure that Joe Biden will win, they now have gathered the help of witches. And they are casting a spell on President Trump in order to jinx his 2020 elections. Like, look here, right? Look how professional these people are. Look at it. Look at, like, can you see the casting power? Like, the spell power that they have. My God, like, they all have attended Hogwarts School of Magic. And now they're taking what the experts taught them and putting it into action. You know, don't let anyone say that the left is unscientific, because that would be a lie. I wonder what Trump's response to this is going to be. Like, what can he do against such powerful sorcery? But I think he has his own team of specialized magicians. And he used them in order to deflect the spell upon Joe Biden, which apparently, in order to answer a question, asked the people in his staff to move up the teleprompter because he couldn't read it.
And I would like to know, what will your administration do to help them give them that chance? Thank you.
Move it up here. You know, there used to be a basic bargain in this country. Workers shared in the wealth their work helped create.
Move it up here, damn it. What do I pay you guys for? Hey, you bring the teleprompter here. You expect me to actually make this wiki stupid from my head or something? I need to read the words. Look here. It's a good thing that CNN is helping. Like, what would politicians be without the help of CNN? Now, they show the picture of Joe Biden and his daughter. It's a beautiful picture, isn't it? But there's something missing from the original. From Le Originale. Something is missing that CNN has removed. Let's see if we can find it. Oh, look. The logo of the Redskin. The tattoo of Racismus was on her head. No. Luckily, the wizards, the experts at CNN, immediately scrubbed it. They scrubbed. Look what a good job they did, though. Like, I want to hire this editor. Like, look, the old picture had the Redskin, and now you can't even see it. You don't even know it was there. My God, that is so good. Holy crap. Oh, CNN. Mwah. You hired the best people. Hire me as well. Huh? Can I get hired by CNN? What must I do, Basa? What must I do, CNN, so I can work for you? Then I can finally get free speech. If someone tries to censor me, I'll be like, freedom of the press, motherfucker! If someone censors me now, it's like, well, YouTube, a private company, can do whatever it wants. I mean, look, I can do a good job like CNN can as well. I know a little bit of video editing. I'm good at uncovering things. I mean, let's look at this. This is what a subscriber said to me. First day of class. In order to protect yourself from the pandemic, you need to avoid touching men. Menariki. So men means mouth, eyes, and nose. Okay? Don't poke yourself. Instead, you need to follow women. Oh, I already like this. I'm already thinking of Ramen D'Angelo. Oh, I want to follow women. This is so political correct. I love this teacher. Very progressive. So progressive, right? Wash your hands. Obey. This is very... Obey social distancing. Mask up. Exercise and eat well. And no unnecessary crowding, right? Now... For the untrained eye, you would say, what a wonderful teacher. I wish I could send my kids at her school. Like, this is the best teacher ever. But, using my high-tech editing skill, I have managed to spot something. What do we have here? Was ist das? Was ist das, as the German would say. Ooh, this is the way to wear the mask if you're not really concerned about other people, but you're concerned that you might get into trouble with the authorities. So this is the incorrect way of making masks. This is how people that are selfish wear it. I think this teacher should be fired. I don't think you should follow women. You should follow Mixon. Because this woman is untrustworthy. She does not care about your child's safety. She is wanting to kill grandma. She needs to be doxxed. We need to find out who she is. And she needs to be terminated. This is not okay. This is not okay. Now, there was a little bit of a spat between YouTubers on the Twitter, one of them being Joe Vargas, or better known as the Angry Joe, and the other being on the quartering. Now, if you're unaware what happened this week, there was a little bit of a pushback against wokeness in sports. So, with the NFL, you have a couple of athletes linking hands in order to show support for the Black Lives Matter and singing the Black National Anthem, and the horrible people on the stage decided to boo them. And this is why we need censorship. See, without censorship, people act uncivilized. Without censorship, you might actually get sports rather than politics. Horrible. And I fully understand why multi-billionaires are now lecturing to the common pleb, to the working class, about how to be a decent person, when the same people are also doing business with China, and they're getting their shoes made there in order to have like various promotional material for the US. You know, China, a place that oppresses its Uyghurs population, beats the living shit out of Hong Kong protesters, and they're definitely for justice and peace. Yeah, no problem to be seen there. Absolutely. No, everything is fine. Okay, just listen to the multi-billionaire lecturing you about how to live your life, because that is what it is to be in a normal and decent society. And I'm glad that Joe Vargas agrees, you know. Screw bringing attention to racial inequality. I mean, this is such a weird issue that most people don't know about, that it definitely had to happen. I mean, how can people know that racial inequality exists if the football league doesn't show it to them, right? I mean, man, like, I love Joe Vargas. He's got good takes. Social injustice and patterns of abuse, if it doesn't affect me personally, boo racial unity. Fuck off with this shit garbage ass unempathetic humans. See, being an empathetic human is what's all about. Like, that is the purpose of your goal in life, to be empathetic. God forbid players stand together in silence before games, snowflakes. Yeah, now, see, I don't like the quartering, cause he comes with a snippy. He comes like with a, it's like the fans were peacefully protesting, Joe. Quartering, you need to understand there are things you can protest and things you can't, right? So, for example, protesting against the measure that the government takes to keep us safe from pandemic is not okay, but protesting against for social justice and inequality, that is fine, right? Like, you need to understand, like, oh my god, I need to have a conversation with the quartering to explain these things to him, because he seems to be very uneducated. And by the way, speaking of the pandemic with don't touch men and follow women and whatnot, let's look at how Macron deals with public safety. Let's see how the president, El Presidente of Viva la France, deals with obeying the regulations.
En cette rentrée, je vais essayer d'aller au bout. Ce matin, à travers le campus, je vais retirer, je pense. Je pense m'étouffer avec ça. Donnez-moi un masque peut-être plus léger. Je vais mettre un masque plus léger parce que j'ai dû absorber un truc du masque.
So apparently there were a couple of things edited out from there. Let's see if we can actually reconstruct the entire event. So he takes the mask off like a Chad, like a king, like an aristocrat, showing that the rules don't apply to him. Right? He asks for the glass of water, touching the hand of the other person, giving the infected mask to the person. And then, oh, this was edited out as well. Look at this. Look, 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 look. I mean, honestly, at this point, if you're a monarchist, if you believe in divine right and the rule of the kings, you should be a progressive, okay? The conservatives don't conserve anything, but the progressives, they actually bring you back in time where you have the aristocracy that can do whatever they want and the laws don't apply to them, and then you have the rest of the peasantry. And the peasantry, they have to follow the rules. And then you have the clergy, which are the journalists and the cathedral of academia with, you know, the College of Cardinals over there, disseminating that information to the press, which then goes to the peasantry. And this is how they rule, right? It's the same way that the kings rules. Like, why did the peasants have to follow the king? Because the priests would tell him that the king has divine right. So why do we listen to the politician? Because the press makes absolutely sure that certain things get edited out, they don't get mentioned, you don't get the information. In this case, you know, Macron coughing in his own hand, well, that gets edited out from the French television. Now, I don't know if all the channels are the same. If you're from France, please tell me about it, but I saw 2 different interactions with it, and all of them refused to show where he coughs up into his own hand and takes off the mask in order to keep coughing. Now, I don't think social media is any different, and they don't work with the politicians in order to make sure that the peasantry only gets the correct information. Like, looky here, right? The US president retweets always actions and a so-called peaceful protest. Now, it shows violencia, which I can't show on YouTube, which is fine. You know, if I was under CNN, I could show la violencia. I could even put ads on it. But on YouTube, you can't, so I just follow the rules. And then you have like another one, always actions. This black man wants his country back. This is my country and I want it back. The US president thanks him. And what do we have here? Always actions, account suspended. Oh, don't you feel safe? Oh, I feel so safe with Twitter's trusted safety. Like, can you imagine just how much of dangerous information is out there and what could happen if people would have access to it? I am so glad that the people from the Trusted Safety Council put themselves between me and that harmful information. Though I think that once per year, all of those people from the Trusted Safety should be arrested and put into a mental asylum just because they have been subjected to the harmful information. Like, how can they be trusted to be normal members of a functioning society if they are constantly exposed to this bad information, right? So they need to be rehabilitated before they can be reintroduced. So it should be a 1-year job where you work at the Twitter Trusted Safety. And after 1 year, you get locked up, you get rehabilitated, and then you're reintegrated into normal society. It should be like a position of sacrifice, you know? Like you're sacrificing yourself for the greater good. Speaking of demonetization, I hope you guys have gave me a couple of super chats. Because if this video gets demonetized, then that's the only way I can make a buck. No, sorry for e-begging, but it's my job. It's my job. This was like a small commercial break before we go back into the fucking. Did you know that Beethoven was black? According to The Guardian. I mean, they're peddling in this conspiracy. And the question is, like, if I like Beethoven now, is it cultural appropriation or not? Like, if I go dressed as Beethoven in a Halloween costume, am I doing blackface? Because, like, this is important, right? Like, I want to live in a civilized society, and I don't want to break any of the rules that are imposed upon me as a peasant. So I need to know. Like, The Guardian just threw a bombshell. If only we had some fact checkers. If only we had some fact checkers to tell us truth from fiction. The problem is we have so few of them, and they're concentrated right now on the more important issues, so they can't really tell me if Beethoven was black or not. But look at this from CNN. President Trump said on Tuesday that Joe Biden wants to confiscate your guns. And apparently this is false. Look. Biden's gun control plan does not include confiscating legally owned weapons, but would mandate that people who own assault weapons either properly register them or sell them to the federal government along with other measures. Oh, I see. So if you have a gun, you can rest easy now. Here's another great one, though. This one is a little bit of a mindfuck. I'm warning you now. Like, you're going to have to stretch your brain a little bit. Did Biden say 120 million people have died from COVID? A gaffe took on a new life into the hands of the Republican and the right-wing media. Okay, so did he say it or didn't he? 120 million people. Mostly false. Biden said now we have over 120 million people dead from COVID. But he immediately corrected him and said the number was actually 120,000. So the correct quote is now we have over 120 million dead from COVID. I mean, 120,000 dead. And you have so many. Now we're past 2 million. I mean, and we're talking about it like it's over. I mean, it's over. My God. Okay, well, I'm glad that Snopes ironed it out. See, this is why Snopes is good. Because it clears up any gray area. It makes sure people get context. Unfortunately, Snopes is just one company and they can't also be everywhere at once, so I'll try to fill in for them a little bit. Like here is, Trump said he feels no responsibility to understand anger of black Americans. Well, that's kind of bad. That's horrible. Trump said he feels no responsibility to understand the pain of black Americans experiencing and suggesting that those who do drank the Kool-Aid. Oh my God, that is horrible. And look, the hill on which you wish to die on. Trump said he didn't have responsibility to understand the pain of black Americans. Oh my God. What was the question though? Let's see if we can get a little bit of a context. What was the question? Do you have any sense that the privilege has isolated and put you in a cave to a certain extent, as it put me and I think lots of white privileged people in a cave, and that we have to work our way out of the cave to understand the anger and the pain particularly black people feel in this country? So the question was, do you not think you're privileged and as a white person you're incapable of understanding non-white people? To which he responded, you really drank the Kool-Aid, didn't you? Just listen to you. Wow, no, I don't feel that at all. So he doesn't feel that because of his privilege, he can't understand other people. But again, like, Snopes is not here to correct this. So I, who am looking for a job at Snopes, am auditioning. Like, tell me, Snopes, am I doing good? Look at this one. This is even better. Up to 90% of people who test positive for the pandemic barely carry any virus and are not contagious. Every stat about the disease is bogus. Fact check. Concern over testing does not mean every stat about the virus is bogus. That's like saying there is a Sumatran tiger in the woods and you should be careful because if you go out, you can die, like it kills people. And then you have the censor going, false, you're spreading misinformation, we need to lock you up now, we need to make sure that you don't create a panic. Because there is no Sumatran tiger in the woods, it's a Bengal tiger, okay? And you have spread false information. Censored. I mean, I'm starting to see how this works, you know, like I'm finally getting the hang of it. So if it's a right-winger, the questions that we need to ask is, was your figure off by 1%? The study exists, but we don't like the methodology. Or the study is not from the current year, you bigot. You're a liar. Liar, liar, pants on fire, mostly true, false, okay? Obamacare isn't helping it, pants on fire. And then you have, for the Democrats, wrong figures, flawed methodology, old and outdated study, no problem, mostly true. Mostly true. Now we know how to properly fact check. Holy shit, now I can actually go to Snopes and audition. Let me know if you like this Week in Stupid. It was interesting to make. More news than usual. I'll try to do better next time though. I was a little bit tired when I did this. I'm trying to buy a new house, so I'm still having my mind preoccupied with other issues, but I promise I'll be more focused next week. If you liked it, consider giving a super chat. It would help me a lot. And if you really want buyer's remorse, then I have a subscribe star. Then into the description of this video, just scroll down. Even $1 is appreciated. And I will see you all next week.